Hey YouTube, Sam here. This is one of my things that annoys me. Safety. And it's not the thing that most people think, oh, safety third. Quite honestly, it's kind of a giggle and funny when you think about it. But for what you're doing, safety always needs to come first. It just does. And I know when I do my videos, most of them, some of the early ones, like I went through and kind of told you what you needed to have, and then I realized you all need to grow up and learn for yourselves what you feel like you need to have. But for those of you who are just starting out especially, and some of you that have gotten lazy and forgotten what can happen, this video is for you. I just read in my Hot Rod magazine, I don't remember the guy's name, probably wouldn't say it if I did. It talked about how he had jacked up his car and was detailing underneath it and had a jack stand and everything. I mean, he did what appeared to be, or sounds to me like he did everything right, and the guy still about lost his life. You can get the Hot Rod magazine and read about it. I'm not going to tell any more of that story. But even when you do it right, you could kill yourself working underneath a car. The guy was detailing underneath his car, and actually, I'll tell you the story somewhat. His watch somehow that he had on went up, hit the terminals between the starter, the ground, and the positive or something like that, and basically the car tried to start with him underneath it. When the tires went, or when it shook, I don't know, somehow it came down on top of him and tried to keep going, it sounds like. Yet again, I'll let you read the story for the rest of it. But my thing here is that anytime you're using that, you should be using that, and you should be using that. Now admittedly, I forget this fairly often. I always usually remember it before I get under the car, but several times I've jacked up a car, put jack stands under it, and started getting ready to go underneath it, and admittedly have gone underneath it and forgot to put the chock. That is a chock that goes behind the tire and keeps the car from rolling backwards or forward or whatever direction you don't want it to go, because you're jacking up one end or the other. Now, for every story like that where you hear the guy comes out alive, there's probably several more stories where the guy ends up dead. I don't know if it's true, but the story behind that jack right there is the reason it was at a garage sale for sale is because it had failed, or something had happened that the car actually came down and killed the guy that owned it. Kind of a little bit creepy when you think about it, but I'm just super careful underneath cars all the time because of that story. I know a couple people who have almost lost their lives. One person who almost lost their arm because because those right there. Anyway, one guy at a racetrack almost lost his life because he just had the ramps underneath it, and it came down, and they folded up right underneath the car with the guy underneath it. He luckily, one folded up first and he jumped out underneath the car, and then the other one folded up. So you don't just want to have the ramps, or just want to have that, or just want to have especially a jack, because those things fall, tip over, and fail all the time. You must have jack stands, and you really should have the chock. It's just one of those things that even the other day, and what made me bring this whole video up was I was driving down the road, kids in the car, wife in the car, and we're actually right down the block from where I live. A guy had just the jack underneath his car, and he was just changing a tire and doing some stuff. I don't know what all he was doing. He had the tire off. I actually offered him a set of jack stands that he could borrow. He seemed a little bit annoyed that I even brought that up, but I was trying to probably literally save his life if that car came down on top of him. Not to mention the driveway he was in was slanted downhill at like a 45-degree angle. It was absolutely nuts, but that's neither here nor there. Yet again, if you want to be stupid, go right ahead. But for all of you that are just starting out especially, and those of you that have gotten lazy and just kind of forget things, or think it's just going to be a quick little deal, please teach by example and use the proper safety equipment. Alright, well, thumbs up, thumbs down. I really want to know how many people think that safety is just not important. If you really think safety is third, put a big thumbs down. You know, safety to me, I always want to, at the end of the day, when I'm done with my project, go back in the house and eat dinner. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, master of none. You all have a good one.